The coronavirus officially hitting the U.S. Here's what we know.
When students left school in March, it was just a normal spring break with many exciting trips planned.
Officially announced that this is a global pandemic.
Then suddenly the world fell apart as COVID began to outbreak in the U.S. It first started as just a one-week pushback to not coming back at all, canceling anything the school had for the next 2 months. But despite all of this, our teachers and students are bouncing back into the 2020-21 school year with new styles, plans, and precautions. Over in the Fine Arts Department, Mr. Moore has been working with the band to keep them in tune with the CDC guidelines.
We're so structured and we have routines for everything. And to have 165 kids try to learn a brand new routine for everything, from where we store equipment to how we enter and exit the room to how we actually go about conducting a rehearsal. It's a lot to take in at once, but they've done a really good job of being flexible.
Junior drum major Caleb Kellum is still looking forward to performing at football games regardless of all the changes.
Well, we're not doing any competitions. We're just preparing a halftime show for football games. It's really interesting to see how much that changes things. For instance, we don't have anywhere near the amounts of after-school rehearsals as we've had in the past. The show is a lot easier, and of course, we're taking a lot of precautions.
From one fine art to another, Dr. Williams has had to look at composing madrigals through a whole new perspective. They have had to come up with a whole new setup. They have to face forward instead of the traditional arc, and they even wear specially designed singer's masks.
So the first thing we've done is we've moved to the band hall because it's a much larger room. And so we have had these singer's masks made. And so you saw the kids in the mask. It has sort of like a duck beak that sticks out and and it stays out. And so it gives the kids an opportunity to breathe better, to have more space, yet be enclosed in a mask. I was concerned that I wasn't going to really be able to hear them very well. And it's been fine.
Since these classes tend to be larger in numbers, they have had to go through countless maintenance to keep their groups going.
We're doing the classroom cleaning and the social distancing, masking up, coming up with new routines in place, different ways to store instruments and clean instruments and things like that.
These changes are happening all over campus, including CTE classes. Miss Miller teaches health science, which is a very critical field right now.
Every year the students have skills that they have to check off on in the lab. In the past, I've been able to take them all in there at one time, review a skill, and then let them practice and check off on it. But now I'm taking one or two at a time, making them stay apart. And so we're just going to have to do a lot of wearing gloves, hand washing, staying distant in the lab, and disinfecting after we use the mannequins and stuff.
In an already fast-paced world, the news industry has been taking on tremendous roles to keep up with all the madness. It's the same way here in our WTHS studio. Senior Paris Lehman says that even with all the changes, WTHS is still just as enjoyable.
With this being my third year in WTHS, everything has changed since how we've had to do it the past 2 years. We've had to stay 6 feet apart, socially distanced, have to do virtual interviews.
Regardless of what this year is going to end up like, students and teachers still have high hopes.
I'm looking forward to a good year. I've got great students this year. We're having some really good classes.
I'm looking forward to football games. I'm looking forward to conducting the band at halftime and the Star Spangled Banner, and just to have that experience as a drum major.
Ari Giorgenti, WTHS News.